What's up guys, Nightingale here, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be answering the age-old question of every gacha game in existence. Is it free-to-play friendly? Well, to get that answer, you're going to have to wait to the very end of this video because there's a lot we need to talk about and there's a lot to discuss. So hang in there, promise you're not going to want to miss the end of this video, nor the information I'm going to be sharing. Not only are we going to be talking about where all of your currency will be coming from, we're going to break it down into even how they go about spending. And as well as a little bit of misinformation that gets spread around by content creators and kind of something to watch out for and to also kind of show maybe they aren't really that far off. We'll find out. We'll dive deeper here as we go. But as the age-old question goes, is this free-to-play friendly? Is this game pay to win? Okay, in essence, if you have to ask that question, you probably don't need to be spending anyway. But if that is the case, and you wanting to know, is this free-to-play friendly, let's dive in to some of the things about Nikke, and also let's take a quick step back for basically a year. At the beginning of the game, I will have to admit, this kind of seemed like a pretty hopeless cause in the beginning. For the sense of summoning. When I started playing, the currencies didn't seem like you were getting that much. We didn't really get a whole lot from a lot of places, and when we did get it, it wasn't enough to really summon anything. We didn't have side stories yet, we didn't have a whole lot of events coming in. Yeah, they had the launch codes coming out, they had a couple random compensations brought in, but that wasn't enough to sustain pulling. And that was a pretty red flag in the beginning. Well, now let's fast forward a year, and I can tell you that mentality of mine has completely changed. There's been a lot that's come through that makes me go, maybe they actually have listened. Maybe they have opened it up. There's going to be some currencies that we're not going to talk about in sense of like codes and maintenance compensations, things like that you just cannot factor into being given consistently. Outside of that, what we're going to be talking about is everything that can be generated naturally in game one way or another. So let's dive into this first and talk about the different currencies and where you can get them. So we have basically three currencies we need to be concerned with. Gems. Literally the lifeblood of your game. Advance tickets. Anything to be able to pull a new unit. Recruitment tickets. The normal ones. Anything to pull any unit focused from your wish list that is already passed and naturally in the game. Those are the three currencies you need to be concerned with as a free-to-play or any player in general. Because paying attention to those is what's going to guarantee whether or not you're getting the units you want. Now, advanced tickets are going to come from things like check-in rewards and they occasionally gift them out, but don't hold your breath on that, and side stores. That's mostly where you're going to get them. Now, there's a couple ways you can pay for them, but we're not going to cover that right now. Now, as far as normal recruitment tickets, those are also check-ins, your paid options, and side stories. So every side story, you're guaranteed 10 advanced tickets and 10 normal recruitment tickets. So you get one multi every 2 weeks. Cool. Now, let's talk about the main source of currency for most players. Whales excluded, while they do count into this, most players are going to be probably spending gems more than tickets because their tickets are going to go by fairly quick. So, in terms of where you're going to be able to get these gems, I have them written down. Blah blah, your messenger up here is going to give you 50 per stage clear when you get to those. Your EX stages, so anytime you see a red triangle show up inside of your campaign, you will see a red triangle, which I've got one over here. These are worth 300 per stage. Now, I classify these two as my trust fund. And this is something that I would like to get most of the community to back behind because this is a very smart practice. By hanging on to these, you're essentially guaranteeing 3 to 4 multis backed up on your account for a dire need situation. Now, dire need does not mean this is the hottest, greatest waifu and I need to pull for it right now. It is mechanic breaking and you need it now because you were pulling for the latest, hottest unit to drop on Nikke. Because every 2 weeks, you're consistently draining your, gems. Yes, gems. Nothing else. You're not draining anything else. And for the next greatest unit. So look at these two as a trust fund. What does this basically mean is at some point when that day comes, you can go through and beat all that content and get all of that and it's not going to get spent. Well, I have the restraint. No, you don't. I promise you, at some point you're going to tilt and you're going to end up smashing that button all the way till it says 0, and then you're going to wonder what happened to all your currency. So, for safety's sake, just leave it there. It's well worth it. Now, obviously there are a few EX stages that I do recommend you beating along the way, and the reason for this is you're going to want to finish collecting your relics, which, if you may or may not have seen, are these little glowing things right here. You want to go by all your stages and collect these because this is a resource. Now, while you can get some gems out of this, don't hold your breath on this being a large currency unless you're full clearing and you're getting where, if you look up at the top of your map, you see that little magnifying glass sign with 7 out of 14. Now that's when things get interesting. That is your lost relics. Lost relics actually are worth 100 per completion, so it kind of makes up for it in the long run. So make sure you're going through and clearing those as you go through your stages. If you get stuck, spam the edges, walk around, you'll find them. There's some that are kind of degenerately hidden and you kind of should say shame on you, but there's a few, most of them you can see. So what next? Well, outside of those, where else can we get them? Well, a great source of them that sits in the game is from your towers. So towers are a wonderful place to get them, and here's why. So you have 4 different manufacturer towers that you have access to, plus the main one. Now, more than likely, you're gonna stall out on your manufacturer towers before your normal tower, because normal tower is just based off of raw power. These are based off of your built units from each one of the manufacturers. And a lot of you are gonna heavily suffer with the Pilgrim Tower because of the lack of pilgrims. While there is such thing as the Modernia difference or Scarlet to win, that's not going to help you forever. Eventually, you will need to have a burst 1, 2, and 3 to clear these stages. So until you get that, at some point, you're going to get roadblocked. Just till then, you pray that you have the power to get through it. But what is unique about these is this. So for every stage that you are on, that is a 5 or a 0, you are guaranteed 100 gems to your account right then and there. If it is anything but a 0 or a 5, you are given 50 gems per clear. Now, when you put that across all 4 towers and the main tribe tower, that's a lot of currency that you actually have stored up on your account that is accessible over time. Now, these are theoretically finite. Eventually, they will end, okay? When that roadblock comes, does it really matter? Because are there enough things in the game? Because that was one of my concerns when I was initially playing was, if Tribe Tower is the only place that we're going to get it, once we're done with it, that's all the currency in the game. Well, there's more. So, another one that a lot of people need to know about is eventually leveling up your outpost enough to get the bulletin board set up. Now, I've left this here to claim for the video so that you could see it, because this one actually has a few different variations. So we have a 4-star variation of 25 gems. We have a 2-star variation at 15 and 15 gems. So overall today, I got fairly lucky that I got a few of these rewards. And I'll just go ahead and claim them, and that was a total of 55 gems I got today from just playing the game. Now, I also have a higher infrastructure core than some of you, which is going to help me out. But by me having those, I'm able to go through and get a higher chance at getting the gems. And some days, I've seen it as low as just 15 to none. And I've seen it as high, I think up to 125 is what I've seen so far in one click. Now, it's probably possible to get more than that, but I just haven't paid attention. I'm going to be real. But when I did, the one day I did go, oh, wow, I got 125. And then I remember the day where I'm like, wow, I didn't get anything. So there are both of those scenarios. So we have the bulletin board. Next up, another consistent one you're going to be getting. While it is technically pennies on the dollar, it still is gems. Gems are gems no matter how you look at it. And that is your commander level. Every time you level up, you are given 30 gems. Now, I can't say that is for every level, but I'm assuming that they're pretty lazy and they're going to code this in, so it's probably 30 per level. I do not remember the 5s, the 0s, or anything like that. You're welcome to comment if you actually do have more information on that, but it is 30 gems per level up as far as I can tell. I've only been able to level up once since I started making the idea of this video, so I don't have much more data on that, and I just don't remember every other time I've leveled up. But I did take a screenshot of it, so I did have it when I did level up. So we have commander level, but we also have another place of getting them that is semi-consistent, is your outpost defense. This is actually quite beneficial to you. Why? Because as you clear stages, whether it be in hard mode or normal mode, every 5 stage clears, you level up. Now, I have 100 gems just waiting on the next stage clear. Congratulations. Soon as I get that, there's another 100 gems. So as you progress through your stories, now, while this does come to an end a lot quicker, this isn't technically the end. Because as long as Nikke plans on releasing new story content, you will eventually have something. Now, more than likely, you will beat the normal story before you can full clear hard mode. But just know that that is extra gems every time you level up, and a little bit does go a long way. The next one is the PvP gems. Now, this one requires you getting to a certain point before you have access to this. So this one kind of cannot be counted right away, but it is still a currency that can be refreshed every so often in your on your game, and it's the season end rewards. Now let's be real here. Let's actually break this down for a second. If you are in the 121st spot and below, you're getting 300 gems guaranteed on your account. So literally 90% of everybody on your server. If you are above the 120 mark, you're getting 800. Now, anybody, honestly, in the top 50 doesn't even need gems, so this really kind of always irks me about rewarding the top players. Honestly, I've always felt like the middle should get the best thing. Like, if you're in the middle of the pack, you're getting the most gems because that's the people who need it versus the people at the top who don't need it. But that being said, it's not always true because in a game like this, you can actually play on servers that don't have whales. Yes, some of you actually are lucky enough to not have that Giga Whale sitting on your account, or like me, who I know I've got guys sitting here at, 364. Do you think I stand a chance going up against 408 level, 542,000 power on one team? No. There is no way I compete with this, bro. So for me, I will never see rank 1. I'm doing good to stay at rank 93. Honestly, I'm chilling down here, hiding in the bushes, just hoping nobody finds me. That's really what's going on right here. So as far as climbing for the extra gems, I always think that there is technically a better spot, but in this case on my server, who needs it the most? Middle of the pack. That's who needs the most currency. Then the rewards should get maybe more unique for the people who do put the investment in to say, hey, look, I got this unique reward. But who needs the most currency typically is the people in the middle of the pack trying to get there. But I get it. You're trying to reward the best players with the highest incentives, but let's be real. Those players spend way more than 3,000 gems. I could use that more than they could, honestly. So outside of PvP, what else do we have? And that is one that is actually quite a lot if you play the game and have a bunch of summons. If you go into your advice section, you actually have a crap ton of gems available to you here. And I mean a crap ton. Each one of these units here has episodes. And these episodes are gems just waiting for the taking. Now, the only thing that's blocking you is you and rank 10. At rank 10, you'll be able to get all of the gems available on that unit. Now, if we go to somebody, say, let's pick on, where is she? Noir. So my Noir is level 30, and I unlocked all of her episodes at level 10. So rank 30 is more for stats, rank 10 is for the gems. So getting your units to rank 10 will get you a, let's see here, what is this? Normally, I believe all of them have had 5, so that's 250 gems every character. Well, they keep releasing a new unit every 2 weeks, so pop one of those new units over to your wish list. Again, don't make it all focused in on new units, unless you are brand new, then everything's new to you. But if you've already been established a little bit, keep the core there and throw in that one new unit and hope you get it. And if not, you know, you just keep playing that one unit off and you keep getting currency that way. So that's 50 per story. Okay, so outside of check-in events, which can give currency, we've currently got one right now. Let's scroll over to it. It's right here. So day 1 right here was giving you 300 gems, and we get 10 normal recruitment tickets here. All right, now it's time to get nerdy. At this point, we are now gonna jump over to the spreadsheet where I'm going to show you guys some numbers, and we're gonna get into this a little bit deeper. Because, as I said, I want you guys to understand what all is going on here. So we have 2 categories. We're going to consider this in hashtag free-to-play, by the way. You love wearing that Medal of Honor of being free-to-play. Here you go. This one's for you. And then we got the next category called Gold Fishin', aka you're only paying for the $4.99 pack. Let's be real, people. If you can afford a Starbucks coffee, you can afford a $4.99 package inside of Nikke. This is a monthly pack. You can buy it multiple times in a row, and you can charge it up. So if one month's great, you can charge it up more than others. But you may not be playing in 3 months, so do it once a month. I charge mine up about every 15 days, so I normally have about 40 days running on my account. So let's break this down for you and go over the numbers here. So this is broken up into 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year. But we're gonna cover this section by section. So hashtag free to play, by the way, your guaranteed currency coming in for 1 week is 1,120, and this is guaranteed. This isn't me taking in anything outside of what we just talked about in that list of blah blah EX stages, none of that. This is the hard stuff you get guaranteed brought to you in the game by playing and your daily grinding. So 1,120 gems is guaranteed to you every week. Now for the Goldfish, you're going to be getting 1,820, and that is due to the extra 700 gems you will get daily from that pack. For $4.99, for the extra little bit of change, it helps out. It's basically for $4 a month, you're getting a free multi. I mean, I wouldn't say free, but you're getting an extra multi a month just off of that. But watch this compound. So, for a 1 month investment, now you have access to the 1 month. Now, I intentionally did not include this into the 1 week because you're not guaranteed that. So 1 week of your 4 weeks will always look better, and that is the first of the month. So, at this point, you have 4,580 as a free-to-play you will be getting a month. So 1 month of just playing the game through your daily missions, your weekly missions, your daily free, your weekly frees, and your monthly free claim, you will get 4,500 gems on your account. So you're getting 1.5 multis on your account just for playing the game daily. Now for whales, this gets a little bit better, aka our little goldfish, guppies, whatever you want to call them. You get 7,380, so you're getting just over 2 multis in that month. Awesome. And that's just changing the paid daily. Nothing else changes there. Well, what if we were to scale this out all the way to the end of the year? What does that look like for us? So in 1 year, you're going to get 59,550 guaranteed gems on your account. That is claiming all 12 monthlies, all 52 weeklies, and all 365 dailies without skipping one. So overall, you get a full pity in 1 year. While that sounds bad, this is just gems. This isn't counting anything else you're putting into your game. I know games where that's the best you can do is maybe pity a unit once a year. They're typically made by another company. It's very famous for anime. Just saying. Now, outside of that, for the Goldfish, you're going to get 96,050. So you're getting almost a pity and a half a year. Yeah. Now, with 96,050, that's quite a decent dent in the game. So, how does this play out for a free-to-play? Okay, well, let's go talk a little bit further. And that is the tickets per side story, because this is something you need to know. We're guaranteed 10 advanced tickets and technically 10 recruitment tickets, normal recruitment tickets every side story. So, now let's put this in perspective. You're getting 260 tickets a year from just playing side stories, guaranteed for advanced and recruitment, which is essence is a full pity as well. So that's now 2 pities guaranteed a year, technically 3 because we're going off into the normal recruitment in just tickets alone. So it's not shaping up too bad. Now, again, we're assuming pity. Pity is 200 gold tickets. You're not always going to have to hit that. Before we go to the next section, I want to show you this because this does kind of irk me, but at the same time, it is clickbait, and I do know this. But I want to point this out because this can be harmful to the community if perceived the wrong way. Now, I've known about Sticks for a while, and I have mostly known him as MMObyte. So I've watched stuff before, but this video went under my radar for a while. I did not see this until just recently. Now, let's evaluate this real quick, and then we can quickly break this down. We can tell instantly this is clickbait. By that right there, instantly, your title says you spent 1,600 in Nikke. Then you look right here, and he says to 14,900 viewers, he says he spent the equivalent of 1,600 in Nikke to obtain 2B and A2. The big red flag here is I spent, and then every first purchase is sitting here. As a whale, you have to hit this in order to do 2 pities in one sitting, just so you know. There's no way he could without whaling on other things prior to this. Now, we don't get to see the other tabs, but this is a pretty good sign. Most whales have probably hit this at some point. So, this can send the wrong message to people if this is the first video you ever happen to see. You see this, and you see it cost him $800 for 1 unit. Oh my gosh, now that does sound bad. But let's go break some stuff down, and we're going to think about this in the back of the scenes. Like I say, cool dude, I'm not sitting here ripping on him, but let's just take this into perspective, because this is what somebody will see. He just sent that out to 20-something thousand subscribers and 14,000 viewers. So let's break this down a little bit further on what actually whaling would look like here to understand, is this pay to win? So, if you were to be a person who bought out all of the first-time purchases the first time in your game, you're given 30,480 total crystals on your account, which will cost you a whopping $199.94. Okay, well, that's not horrible. That's half of multi, right? Or that's half a pity. Sure, that's not horrible, but is this really where we need to be going? Probably not. But these are first-time purchases, so this is going to look good regardless. Now this is where it starts to look a little more painful. That same $199 the next time around is only going to net you 18,530, aka 6.1 multis. Now that's where it's going to hurt. Now that package becomes a lot less worth. But wait, there's more. So we have 2 campaign passes right now available in the game, and you can get 10,000 gems for 20 bucks a pop. All right, well, if I look at the value of that 30,000 that I got for $200, wow, that's quite the steal, and I can do that twice, so you're telling me for $40 I can walk away with nearly the same value? One off, but you gotta beat the campaigns to get it. Okay, we're gonna ignore those though, but I wanted to show you that they are technically there, and what the value is. So for $40, we're getting almost the value of that. Even if you've already done that, you're well past the value of that $200 already spent just buying out that whole shop. The next one we're going to focus in on is event summons. Event summons are the special ones that show up every 2 weeks whenever there's a brand new side story. So every month, a whale is given the crack at buying these packages twice a month, and then they are gone. What I've done is I've gone ahead and I've converted the tickets that are in this into gem value, so that it makes this a lot easier to calculate in the long run, because it's a pain in the butt to do if we're having to go juggle tickets and gems. So everything's going to be referred to from here on out as gems. Even though you are clearly getting tickets, they spend the same. They're all advanced recruitment tickets, so this is designed for the brand new unit that just came out that you're trying to pull for. So, we've converted all these over to their gem equivalents. If you are a first-time whaler, this is the best time for you to one-off grab that unit. It's only going to get worse from here anytime you decide to do it. But if this is your first time and only going to be your first time, you can go to full pity, which is 60,000 gems needed, or 200 tickets, so it'll be a combination of the two on your account. This will net you a total cost of $374.91. Now, since he is a first-time whale, did he spend $1,600? No, he fake whaled it, which is fine. I get what he's doing. We'll get to that point later, but that's $374 you would be spending for the first time whaling on your account for one unit. That is just the one unit, which is what we're going to be judging for quite a while here. Now, after your first time, we're assuming you're burning that first time over there on the gems, not those summoning packages over there, and we're excluding the campaign passes. So after that, it gets a little bit more expensive because you're having to round off with those. So it now goes up to $494.93 for the 60,000 needed. You'll end up walking away with 64,000 total in value from that purchase. But you are guaranteed, that is literally a full pity plus one multi. So you are going to walk away with a full pity for just under $500. That is still less than the $800 he claimed he spent, which is fine. We know it's clickbait. Well, let's say for whatever reason you have no common sense, or that second unit dropped and you absolutely need it and there's not a summon pack. What does it cost you to do it? Just straight with gems. What he based his value off of. He based the value off of the gem shop package in the video. Now, if you listen to it, when he talks, he admits this is equivalent value in rough numbers and rounded. But still, you to go out and say $800 a unit is still quite a hefty price tag. While when we sit here and look at $639.92 isn't that much better, but that's assuming you had to go to full pity. Now, we need to understand something about his video as well. To get royally shafted as hard as he did is nearly unheard of in the game. But he got the worst luck of the game twice in a row. You have a better chance at pulling multiple pilgrims than you do that. You have a better chance at pulling multis of just double units of anything than what he had the odds of that happening. So think about that. That is super rare. Yes, it is horrible, and I wish I could donate some Johnson & Johnson to him because he really needed it after that video, but he needed it before it, to be fair. But, you know, it feels bad that you had to witness somebody do it, and it's there for our viewing pleasure, and that's more why we're watching the videos, to watch him just absolutely get royally screwed for that entire summons. And he did this live on Twitch. So you're going to walk away with $639 for one unit. So in theory, you're going to walk away spending, let's see here, if we grab this one and grab this one, you're spending $1,134 if you had to buy full both of these, actually intentionally. It's horrible to think about. $1,100 for 2 units. Okay? But now here's where the smoke and mirrors of this really changes, because this isn't how this really works. This is not how Nikke functions. Do not take that number and think this is how the game works. Let's go deeper. So what I've done here is I've put together a basic mathematical spreadsheet of ranking through the generic basic incomes of your account. This isn't counting any extra tickets you get in, well, this is counting the tickets, but this isn't counting extra tickets through events, like check-ins or codes or anything like that. This is just your monthly income plus what you're having to spend. Then it looks a lot different. So we take our monthly gym income of the guppy goldfish class, and you're gonna be earning 7,380 gems. You're gonna be earning 7,380 gems a month, all right? So that's naturally coming into your account no matter how you're playing. Now, we're gonna assume that if you are spending that kind of money, you need to be above the 91 rank, so you're earning at least 800 gems. Let's be fair. If you're spending that kind of money in the game, you need to be much higher than that. You probably need to be into the top 50 of your server. Okay, well, let's also add in that we know we're guaranteed 2 side stories every month. So those 2 side stories equates to 6,000 gems and tickets. So in total, we have 14,180 in value on our account. So we need 60,000 for that hard pity. All right, so we need to come up with 45,820 extra gems on our account monthly to hit both, to be able to whale a unit. So if we were to buy both of the event packages completely out, so the 199 or the 99, the 59, and like the 1999 one out monthlies, that's going to give you 33,200 gems per full buyout, which in essence at the end is going to give you 20,580 or 6 bonus multis a month just for buying that out. So if you're playing the game and you're buying those, in essence, you're only spending $354 a month on summons. Quite a stark contrast from the 800 he claimed on that one. But here's the thing, you're not always gonna have to pity that unit. Now, obviously, things get a lot worse when we go talk about the game and having to get max limit break or things like that. That's when things are gonna look a lot scarier here, and we're gonna talk about that in a few minutes. So, pity cost. I wanna put this into perspective, so we're gonna compare this to a couple games, just so that you have a much broader perspective on what's going on inside Nikke. So, I'm gonna have a thing here that says, this is assuming worse luck, because just like we could take his video and technically claim, even though we are smart enough to see exactly what it is, there is those people out there that will take it for face value, and quite honestly, sometimes this is why they don't need to be playing, but they could have enjoyed a great game. But I'll have something here saying worst luck possible over this so that they can't just take it and run with it, that they can't clickbait this screen. So Goddess of Victory, we're assuming after the first purchase, it's gonna cost you $494.93 to pity 1 unit a month. Now, again, this is assuming worst case scenario. You need the 60,000 gems. Now we're gonna come back to that C7 worst luck number here in a minute, because that's not what we're focusing on right now. Next up, let's talk about Epic 7. The next best thing we could do to compare it to Nikke is to use the Mystic Banner system of Epic 7, which is the light-dark units of that game. It requires 10,050 Mystics to guarantee a pity. So if you were to go in and buy the most efficient packs, you're going to have to come up with 10,000 Mystics. I'm assuming I'm giving you the 50 that you did something in the game to earn that 50. Guild Wars should normally be giving them to you. But it will cost you $749.90 to buy out the packs in order to hit 100, or in this case, 200 to 0 pity on the Mystic Banner. So keep this in perspective. Now, Danmachi Battle Chronicles is a game that just recently released last August, or this past August. You need 56,000 Salus in order to pity 1 unit, and that is any unit that shows up in the game. Limited, non-limited, or anything. In order to do that, it's going to cost you $680. Now here's the worst part about that. You can't actually buy a full pity in that game until a reset happens. So you are technically currency locked in, at least from what I can tell. Maybe it refreshes once you buy everything out. I've seen games do that. It takes everything being bought for a refresh to happen. But it does say in the small text that it will refresh on X date. So in theory, you cannot pity a full unit in buying it, and you're still spending $680. Needless to say, that game's not going to last very long. Now let's go to another game. 7 Deadly Sins. This one is probably one of the best appearance-looking ones of these. What do I mean by that? Is we're assuming this based off of a festival banner. The festival banners are typically the it unit of that. And that's kind of what they moved their business model to. Almost everything's a festival model at this point. Well, this takes 900 gems. Okay, well, we're not going to go through and talk about all the PvP gems and all that stuff that's going to go into this. We're talking raw hard cash like we're doing on all of these. So, in this case, this one doesn't look as bad up front. This one, to pity one unit, you'll probably walk away with their bundle spending $287.95. Well, at first this is going to seem great. There's more to this than you understand, and we're going to come back and talk about this in a minute. Next up, I downloaded Fate Grand Order in order to check this out, because this is also known as one of the most pay-to-win PvE games out there. So naturally, I had to go check it out. Well, the game's too old for me to actually want to play, but I played enough to get the idea. So it takes you 990 Saint Quartz to pull a limited unit. Now, from what I can tell by this, that is the premium currency, because every unit banner that I saw in the game as I was playing the other day, it said limited in an X amount of time. I have friends that play that, and I know that those are the banners. Now, this is just for the unit. I know there's other stuff in the game you've got to pull for. But in this case, just to get the unit once, guaranteed, assuming you could buy the rated up currency, which is what it seemed like you could do. It didn't have any stipulations that you weren't going to be able to do that. So I based my numbers off of this, which could drastically change that, obviously, it came out to around $479.94. Okay. So that's Fate Grand Order. Now, one of the most beloved gacha games out there that you all seem to absolutely fall head over and heels of, willing to play, but you will chastise an actual mobile game instantaneously, is Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact takes 28,800 Primo Gems to pity a unit. Now, I'm assuming the hard pity, the guarantee you get that unit. To do that, it costs you $361. Now, here's something that we want to talk about, is the enhancement stuff. So not only in this case for Genshin Impact, people do want to max out their characters, so there is that worst luck scenario of it could cost you $2,145 to max out that one pixelated character on your game. What makes this even worse is that's not counting the weapon. So therefore, Genshin Impact definitely has the ability to be one of the most expensive ones out there that nearly rivals what we're going to talk about with Nikke in the grand scheme of things. Now, Fate Grand Order, I did not put enough investment into to find out anything else past this, but I do have quite extensive knowledge of 7 Deadly Sins, and this is what I want to show you. So I say the cost is to be determined. Here's why. That $287 at first doesn't seem that bad, but unless you understand how the PvP system works in 7 Deadly Sins, if you don't have the highest combat power, you don't go first. Speed is not a thing in the game. Power is what determines going first. So, when you're pulling these units, you typically need to go and try to 6-6 them. Which means you're going to fully max limit break their ult. Okay, this is where things get a lot more expensive. So, not only do we have to run in, if we want to do this, which would be this, we're going to equals this cell times 6 pulls. We got to do this 6 times over. That is $1,172.70, assuming you can buy the bundles. You cannot. You can only buy the bundles so many times before they are gone. Then you have to go to straight gem conversion. So that number is going to be more around the $2,100 range. But wait, there's more. in order for you to do this in 7 Deadly Sins, and again, be taking part of that, you also need to consider that you're going to have to buy, $23.99 times 3. You're gonna have to buy 3 costumes at the absolute minimum that are gonna get that are gonna be posted, that are gonna give you the UR costumes that you gotta put in there. So you've now gotta chuck in another $100 at minimum, unless they have multiple. Sometimes they do have 5 costumes that are SR that'll go in there. So now you're having to spend around $100 extra on top of that unit in order for it to be even usable in the game. Because why take in that low-level limit break that's going to lower your combat power would be quite stupid, because if you were going first, you wouldn't be anymore with the lower-level unit. Now, there are turn 2 playstyles where that does void out some of this, but most of the time, if you ain't first, you last. All right? So, now we kind of compare that to 7 Deadly Sins. We're not even going to dream about trying to max limit break in Danmachi because it's not possible. Epic 7 is not worth talking about because there's a couple different variants here. If we're talking about the Mystic unit, the Moonlight, or the Mystic Moonlight ML units, the Light Darks, those are normally direct units that are already in the game. So there's a normal unit already stationed in the game that you can summon for. Whether that is you can get it through side story banners, through their custom group summons, through whatever. There are ways to obtain that unit on a banner. So you wouldn't be pulling the Mystic banner, and it's significantly cheaper to pull that unit somewhere else. As well as they also offer the Slate system, which is basically a free imprint. We're basically gonna say, you're going in, you're buying that one unit at $750, and you're walking out. Now, Nikke. Nikke has a unique version, and this is why I say you can't be afraid of this too much. We're assuming the worst luck like Styx got, where he got shafted twice. We're assuming that happened 11 times. Actually, 10 times is what this price is based off of. Because we're assuming you spent the $494, and then we're assuming you're going to spend this next chunk. I'm going to double check my math here. I did not do it. So I'm assuming by this number, this was the just for the C7. So you've pulled it, now you're upgrading it. So now this is getting shafted 10 times over. Yes, I can tell by the number. It is assuming you get shafted 10 times over. What does this mean is Core 7 is you have Max Limit Break, which is your first 3 stars, and then you have 7 more stars above that. You have to pull a total of 10 dupes after this to Max Limit Break your unit, to send it all the way to the end. When they have the little max at the top, that means they pulled 10 duplicate units. So, if you were to get shafted, yes, it cost you $6,339.20 on the absolute worst luck. But what I want to reassure you is that is not gonna be how the game treats you. And if it does, and you get that 10 times in a row, you probably shouldn't be playing the game. It's literally the game telling you, thank you for being stupid, let me take your money, stop playing the game. That's what that's really trying to tell you there. Because if you go look at my tutorial video, it's the one that talks about how to reroll. You can see that I pulled 2 2Bs in my first multi. While that is the better luck of things, that is not how the game is always going to treat you. You may get 1, but even if we took that as I spent the money and I went all the way to pity, I still broke out better than he did for $494.39 than he did for 2 full units. So, to sum this up, here's what we need to break down. If you are a spending player, you're naturally spending already. There's nothing to stop you. You're going to be doing that. That's fine. There are times where the goldfish, the shark, the we're not even going to get out there to the Kraken level. Just the average person who wants to spend some money. Because they'll guarantee a unit here and there. Great. It's not that bad if you're going after 1 unit, because you're not going to have to go chase it all the way to pity. Because as you start pulling it, as you collect, the one great thing about Nikke is you don't lose your pity. If you were to pity a unit in Epic 7 and you were only 8 pulls in, guess what? The timer resets. You've still got to go 121 again and again And again, every time you start over and you pull that unit, you are going to have to start that pity over. Now on the Mystic banner, it is guaranteed until you pull the unit. So, okay, well, if I pull the unit, there goes my pity. Correct. So, that's painful. Well, not here, because if you pull the unit, great, cool. Your tickets are still there. They don't go away. That is an absolute phenomenal piece of information. Now, let's talk about this in a couple different aspects, and I'm going to jump back to the game for this. Because this is what, to answer the actual question like I promised you I would. Is Nikke free-to-play friendly? So if we jump back over to the Nikke client, let's talk about recruitment real quick. We've already talked about the gold mileage tickets here, and that these are going to forever bank up. Now remember, I said that if you were to buy out both of those packages a month, you're going to have an excess of 20,000 per. Which means every 3 months, you have a full pity saved up that you didn't have before. Nobody really goes and pulls for core 7s unless you are absolutely love the character, you absolutely are a giga whale, or you don't realize what you're doing. Most people just go to max limit break to unlock the scene to sit on their lobby, and that's it. Because sometimes the return on investment is so little, it's not really worth. Take 2B. For every limit break she has, she's only gaining 2% damage every star. So you're saying it's worth 2B to gain 14% damage for all those breaks? Not really. Well, actually, it would be 10. So she gains 20 total percent damage. It's not really worth when you think about it, is it? But players don't understand that small little difference. Some units will scale better as they go up. Some you don't want to dupe. A2 was the case. A2 was actually better for you to leave at max limit break if you were going to go invest into it, then take it to core 7 because of the HP pool. Sure, the attack made up for it, but in the grand scheme of things, it was better for you to leave the unit at just the first pull. It was actually going to probably perform better over the large term of the game. So not only are we getting those gold tickets as we go up, we also have the normal recruitment banner, which we've already talked about in extensive detail, but just to sum this up, because is the game free-to-play friendly? These 15 units you pick. You tell this what your units are, and only these 15 units are going to show up outside of the pilgrims. So if you get a unit that shows up on your banner inside of this, it's your fault. Because you picked that unit. There is no other excuse other than to blame than you. So not only are you able to focus down 15 units that you actually need on your account, there is no pity here. It's just black tickets. So as you're playing and you're getting those extra summons and you're summoning in on this over the course of your year, you're building up these tickets. And this is why this is so important. Is these black tickets can buy you, and it's here today, which is so great. You can buy litter dupes from this. So one of the best units in the game, as you work up your pity, you can buy some of the better units, because here's the news flash, people. Collabs and limited aren't the end-all be-all units here. They are not the meta units. What are is already available into the game, and it's already your pilgrims. Currently in Nikke, there is no, oh my gosh, if you didn't have this limited or this collab, you're so screwed. No, they're great. Those that are there that are very good. But everything you really need is already available to you in the game. That tells you that's free to play friendly, because you don't have to go out and spend on all those collab banners. You don't have to go out and spend on all those limited banners. The units you need are already in the game. And some of them show up in this pool right here. So, in this case, you'd be using your tickets to help limit break litter to core 7. Volume, if you happen to be a 2B user. Noise is here for a 2B user. There are several in here that are actually great to have. But you gotta get the rotation of it, which it's random. The only Pilgrim that shows up in here is Noah, so you don't have to worry about waiting for Scarlet or waiting for Modernia. None of those units will show up here until they add them. It's not gonna be here. So your main concern is coring up your main team. Great. So now every time you pull on that, this also helps you out. You just have to be patient and wait for a body part to show up. Now I need to preface this every time this shows up because there is that one person who probably did some things they shouldn't have and they have brain damage. The body parts do not summon the unit. So if this is the first time you've seen litter, this litter spare body part will not bring up the unit. It even says here, it's used for limit breaks. This is how you achieve max level. If you want the unit, it's done through this. There are units, the gold tickets will get you the unit. Not the, and this will body parts as well. This is everything. This is all of it. But for you, it's, if you're talking the black tickets, it's not gonna get you the unit. You will have to still pull that still. So, is Nikke actually free to play friendly? The answer is yes. Because if we look at the overall aspect of currencies that come up in your game, and I even forgot to mention one. To be fair, I literally just remembered this. We get 250 gems a week right here. If you do your co-op raid, you have 250 right there. I completely forgot to include that, but here it is at the end of the video. So there's an extra 250 we get every reset. You just need to do co-op raids. They've done a drastic turnaround because I don't feel that starved feeling for units. Plus, after putting down so many tickets in this game, my average right now is about 4. In about 4 multis, I pulled a unit. My worst so far in the game is 12. I still haven't gone all the way down. But while I got shafted and I didn't get the unit I wanted, I walked away with a lot of value overall on those 12 multis. So I don't really feel that bad in terms of value. Because while I'm pulling on the normal banner, or on the advanced banners, I'm pulling against everything in the game. So that could be new units I hadn't summoned for. That could be units I need limit breaks of. It could be Isabel coming to haunt my nightmare. It's not my dreams, it's my nightmare. She showed up once again. So yay, I have a core 1 Isabel. Hooray. So, you're getting all these extra pulls. They're doing enough, I think, in the game. Could they do better? Sure. They could. There's enough in the game that helps you out. Is it as doom and gloom as that video says? $1,600 for 2 units? No. Even at our worst number, to get what he got, we're at $1,200. Still significantly less. But it makes a great clickbait video. And I don't blame you for it. It's part of the YouTube system. I'm not going to deny that. It works on a lot of people. But we wanted to show this off because I also wanted to show, was he really that far off? Not really. But he is. It's enough that will make a difference. Because trust me, if psychological stuff like changing something from 1999 to 1995, do you know the drastic difference that will let people buy stuff? There's a very weird psychology of random crap out there that people will sometimes turn up 1999 over 1995. Just like saying straight $20, by changing it to 1999, people are more likely to buy it because they physically see $19. They don't see the 99 cents, but they see $20. Why is that dollar difference? But it's just the mentality of how people perceive things. And that's okay. Here, you have a great time investment ahead of you, and it will pay off. There's a lot of currency given out. I think they've bridged the gap. My biggest complaint, though, out of everything, is their codes. Their codes is probably one of the most abysmal things I've seen in a game. They're time limited, or they're use limited, not time limited. So that means if a code gets posted at 3 a.m. my time, by noon, it's gone. It's used. But what if I woke up at 10 a.m. because I went to bed at 2 a.m.? Well, I'm screwed. I got no chance at that. I think they need to rework that system, and at that point, just give it a 24-hour timer and nobody's gonna care. I don't know why they make them limited other than to make it feel more necessary, but just don't. Just make them time. No, I don't know any other game that really does that does it often. They'll do like some cute, like quick codes, they'll do like that, but most codes aren't use limited, they're time limited. I'm up from this day to this day, and after that, I'm gone. Cool. Some even leave codes indefinitely in the game. I don't even know if Nikke still has an indefinite code. At the beginning, there was one for a while, but I think they got rid of it. I don't remember what it was, but I think there was one that was up for about a week. So, is Nikke free-to-play friendly? Yes. Don't let clickbait videos stir you. Don't let the whales concern you, because if you do have one on the game, you're never going to compete with them. Don't try to. You will not break that person's wall. They will outspend you 100 to 1. But if you are on a server that doesn't have a whale, you have a chance. Sure, spending a little bit of cash can help you out. And honestly, you might feel better about it when you don't spend money and you end up beating that person that is the one that was just right above you by a level or two. It might feel better to you. I'm not going to deny either way. I think it's both viable ways of playing. But the one thing you have to do here is play smart. So we just took an hour to break this down to you. I hope that things have been clear and concise, because this is a lot of information and a lot of numbers to talk about and a lot of theory we have to crack down in order to show you, is Nikke free-to-play friendly? And it is. So thank you guys so much for your time. I know this was an extremely long video. I hope this helps some of you out. I really do. It's a lot of numbers to crack through, but it's easier to let somebody like me do it than you. If you do have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments below. I'll be happy to help you out as best as I can. I really don't know what more I could have done in this video to help showcase the quality of what we actually have here. Yeah, it can get expensive. I will not deny that. But I also can tell you, there is a little thing called probability. The probabilities here are on your side. They're weighted to be against you, some, but if you play the odds long enough, as any game goes, they will come out in your favor. So you guys take care. We'll see you in the next one.